Chapter 15, Rubrics. What is rubrics? A scoring rubric is an attempt to communicate expectations of quality around a task. In many cases, scoring rubrics are used to delineate consistent criteria for grading. Because criteria are public, a scoring rubric allows teachers and students alike to evaluate criteria, which can be complex and subjective. A scoring rubric can also provide the basis for self-evaluation, reflection, and peer review. It is aimed to accurate and fair assessment, fostering understanding and indicating a way to proceed with subsequent learning and teaching. This integration of performance and feedback is called ongoing assessment or formative assessment. This is a picture of a certain rubric in which uh, the format of rubric in which the teacher will grade the student according to the rubric grades in which they accomplish their work. Holistic rubrics. Holistic rubric consists of a single scale. All factors that are to be evaluated are identified together for each level of performance. It might be a checklist or a description of each attainable level of performance. Holistic rubrics are quicker to develop and learn, quicker to score, and quicker to find agreement among various evaluators. Analytical rubrics. Analytical rubrics, on the other hand, are excellent tools for teaching as well as for assessment. An analytical rubric consists of multiple separate scales and therefore provides a set of scores rather than just one. The multiple scales enable students to pinpoint their strengths and weaknesses related to each criterion. Steps in the design of scoring rubrics. Designing scoring rubrics, step-by-step procedure. Step 1. Re-examine the learning objectives to be addressed by the task. Step 2. Identify specific observable attributes that you want to see, as well as those you don't want to see. Your students demonstrate in their product, process, or performance. Step 3. Brainstorm characteristics that describe each attribute. This illustration shows the functions of each step for holistic rubrics and for analytical rubrics. Step 6. Collect samples of student work that exemplify each level. Last step is step 7. Revise the rubrics as necessary. Sample grades and categories through rubrics. Here, this is an illustration of Table 3 which comprise sample grades and categories. The column number 1 is for rubric score and the column number 2 corresponding to grades and column number 3 corresponding to category. Example 1. The first column below the rubric score is 8 and the second column below the column of grade is 8, A positive, and below the column of the category is excellent. Here it is shown that the rubric score of 8 in illustration of grade is A positive and its category is excellent because when you grade a rubric, there is a pattern that you will look for. Some instances, if the student gets the annual representation of their performances and practices. So this is just an illustration of rubric score with corresponding grades and corresponding category. This is a picture of a certain rubric in which the format of rubric in which the teacher will grade the student according to the rubric grades in which they accomplish their work. Here are some rubrics for math, bioscience, and business.